Hi, it's Don O'Rorke. I'm the Executive Chairman of Consolidated Properties and I'm doing my monthly update. Today I'm really pleased to be joined by Kieran Cox. Kieran heads our commercial and retail business and will have been with the company for 20 years this year. The retail and commercial part of our business is obviously very important. The very first project Consolidated Properties did was a small commercial building 40 years ago. So it's been a part of our business right from the start and it remains a very dominant part of our business today. Kieran, tell us a little bit about your team and what you're working on at the moment and what's coming up in your part of the business.
Thanks, Don. Thanks for having me. We have a team of 8 in the retail and commercial division. We have a combined experience in property of about 150 years. So I think that's a nice balance of not too old, but old enough to have some solid experience. We are working on a range of different projects across different sectors within commercial and retail. By far and away our biggest component of the retail and commercial workbook is the neighbourhood centre space, where we have a retail partnership and a portfolio of about $500 million worth of centres across 7 different locations. They're in varying stages of development or gestation. Some of those will be completed at the back end of 2019, with the balance completed through 2020. Our intention over the next 5 or so years is to grow that portfolio to closer to $1 billion worth of assets developed, held and under management. Within our team, as I said, we've got 8 different highly specialised people specialising in different sectors of retail development. I like to call them the finders and the minders. The finders being those people who are going out, sourcing the deals, bringing them into the business, and then we have the minders who are delivering. As I said, we've got a combined property experience of 150 years, and they are highly specialised. In the commercial space, as you know, we finished 900 Ann Street, which was the Horizon building in Fortitude Valley, which was pre-sold to Charter Hall in 2017. We have another similar project also located in Fortitude Valley, which we're aiming to get our development approval on from Brisbane City Council in mid-2019, with a view of launching construction on a similar type of product, a 20,000 square metre, a premium grade commercial office tower, late 2019 or early 2020. In addition to that, we've got 2 other commercial sites, again in varying stages, with the combined end value in the commercial workbook of about 300 million. So our intention, or part of our business planning, our strategy, is to grow that workbook over the next 5 to 8 years as well, similar to what we're achieving in the retail space. We've also got a smaller project division within the business that has a number of projects under contract now. The recently completed 7-Eleven at Mango Hill was a good example of what we can do there. I should also add that a number of our recent projects have won awards. So we take a lot of pride, not just in the basics of delivering these things on time and on budget, but also delivering very good outcomes for stakeholders and delivering award-winning product.
And 900 Ann Street also won the UDIA award last year for the state as well. So very pleasing outcome. Creating good buildings that our peers recognise through the award program is very important. Yeah. Kieran, can I just talk to you for a moment about the things that drive our retail business? I mean, obviously there are key clients that enable these projects. Can you tell us who they are and how you go about satisfying them?
Yeah, well, as you say, Don, it's part of Consolidated Properties' DNA is dealing with tenants, understanding tenants' needs and wants, and making sure that those needs and wants are accommodated within the design process, the commercials, and that the products we're building are enduring and meeting their operational needs into the future. So with that comes a great deal of focus on the tenant, and across our business, we in the commercial and retail space consider the tenant as the major client. There's obviously other significant contributors to the deal, being the consultant team, being the agent who brings us the opportunity, the bank, our funding partners, etc. But without the tenant and without a strong relationship with the tenant, the deals would not present and certainly wouldn't go the distance. I very much inherited that DNA when I joined Consolidated Properties 20 years ago. It was a well-established blueprint, and certainly it's part of CPG's foundation. With that in mind, along with the team, have placed a great deal of emphasis and priority in our day-to-day dealings in ensuring those relationships are maintained, nurtured and built upon. Probably the two standouts, Don, for me would be both Coles and Woolworths, who we regard with a great deal of respect and value the relationship strongly. And there wouldn't be a day that goes by in our workplace that we don't have at least a discussion, a focus or serious engagement with operatives from either company. Across the portfolio of 7 projects, I think 5 or 6 out of them would either be anchored by Coles or Woolworths, and in some instances both. As I said, we pride ourselves on those strong relationships and very much nurture them on a weekly basis.
So Kieran, as at today's date, 7 projects within the retail part of our business, 1 new big one, 895 in our office space. In our small projects division, we've got the equivalent of 4 or 5 projects there in the Ipswich project. That's what we've got on now. What do you see our size book looking like over the next year or 2?
Sure. Well, I think as I mentioned earlier, if we can grow the retail footprint from $500 million to $1 billion, we're quite disciplined in what we select, how we select them, the projects we look at. They do need to withstand the ups and the downs of the property cycle, and with that comes a focus on the neighbourhood centre asset class. It's quite fortified against those trials and tribulations, the headwinds, the choppy waters. So with that discipline, these projects don't come along every day. However, we remain quite confident over the next few years of getting closer and closer to that $1 billion. In terms of the commercial space, growing the portfolio from the $300 million in the workbook now to close to $500 million would be the next gate we'd like to pass through, and then beyond. In the small projects, fortunately, they come into the system and flow back out of the system pretty quickly. So at any one time on a calendar year, we would like to see 4 or 5 in the system at varying stages.
Okay, thanks for joining me today to talk about the commercial and retail business. I mean, we've got a lot on in that space and we've got ambitions to get even bigger. And I'm really pleased that we've got a team that's up to that. So thank you for sharing your insights with me today.
Pleasure, Don. Thank you.